Hey, what's up guys? Today I'm just going to take a little bit of time to help you dial in your 2019 Honda 450s, or at least tell you what I'm doing to dial mine in. So yeah, now that I have enough time on the bike, kind of want to address some of the questions you guys have been asking me about it. So I'm going to just give you a rundown of the things that I like, things that I don't like, things that I think you should upgrade immediately, or at least think about upgrading immediately. And then towards the end, I'll walk you guys through kind of what clicker settings and stuff that I found that I'm finally getting pretty happy with. It's still definitely a work in progress, so I'll keep updating you guys as I go along. But just for now, this is where I'm at, and yeah, it seems to be working pretty good. So yeah, I guess we'll just start off with the good stuff. Right off the bat, just want to say that this bike is super good. Like, definitely the best Honda 450 they've made so far that I've ridden. The motor on this thing, super strong, and I think that's something that Honda's been working on pretty hard the past couple of years. When they came out with this new generation of bike, I think that was like a pretty big goal for them because their bikes used to be really slow. So I have no problem saying that this is definitely the fastest 450 in the class right now. I've ridden, just recently, the other week, I rode a new Husky 450, new KTM 450, and a new Cowie, and man, they all just felt really flat compared to this thing. Like, this thing has so much bottom end. It revs to the moon. Honestly, it revs like a 250 sometimes. Get a little bit nervous if I panic rev in the air or something. I'm like, wow, this thing, it might blow up. It's revving out so high, but so far no issues, so that's good. Then again, with the chassis, this thing is such a fun bike to ride. Like, it just handles so good. You can flick it around. It's one of the heavier bikes in the class, but I know, like everyone says, it doesn't feel like it at all. I mean, like I said, I rode the Husky and the Cowie, and those things felt way heavier than this, and way less playful. Like, after I got off those guys' bikes and jumped back on this, I just found myself scrubbing stuff harder, tossing it over jumps and stuff like that. So definitely think that's another strong point of the Honda. Another thing they worked on for 2019, even just over the 2018, is the ergonomics of the bike. So like I said in a previous video, they made those front mounts for the handlebars to go in, which is pretty nice for me and the other taller guys out there. I know even some of the shorter guys like it in the forward position. I know like Roxon and Sealy both run theirs in the forward mount, so pretty cool to see them doing that. They put a new bar on for this year, which is super nice because I always hated the stock bar that came on the other Hondas. I think it was like the 971 bend, and that thing always sucked. I hated that thing. So that was like the first thing I would upgrade on all my bikes. Normally I would put the 999 bend on, which is a really nice low flat bend. Just gave me a really good feel over the front end. But this new bar is pretty much spec'd out exactly like the 999, but it's just a little bit taller and a little bit narrower. So far I've been liking it. Might switch it out, not really too sure yet, but I'll let you guys know on that. Another thing that's actually pretty crucial, which not a whole lot of people are talking about, is they revised the foot peg. So I know one of my biggest issues with foot pegs is that if I rail a turn pretty good, the foot peg will get a bunch of dirt jammed up in it, and it'll just stick up at like a 45-degree angle from the ground, and I'll have to either reach down and like get the dirt out or just bang it with my heel a couple times. But on this bike, they kind of open up the inside a little bit more, so dirt just flows through it better, I guess. It doesn't get caught up so easily. So far, I haven't had any issues with the foot peg sticking up. You know, most of the tracks down here are pretty sandy, so it's not going to pack in that hard. But, you know, I'm interested to see how that'll be once I get to some firmer tracks. Obviously, this year they also upgraded to black rims, but not only that, they actually put on a stronger rim, which is really nice. Pretty much those stock silver rims that used to come on them were like Swiss cheese. I would bend those things in like 2 days of riding. So that's super nice. There's some pretty big jumps down here, and I've definitely come up short on them a few times, over jumped them a few times, hit some good sized rocks, and you know, these things have been bulletproof so far. Paint isn't even wearing off yet, so that's super cool. Definitely happy to see that. All right, so moving on to some of the bad stuff. And by no means are these like bike breaking or anything, or like you shouldn't avoid the bike because of these reasons. They're easily fixable. It's just kind of annoying that these are still some problems that are coming up after so many years of the same thing. The main one being the clutch, both longevity and the feel and the pull of it. stock the way that it is, this thing will last me maybe 5 hours if I'm lucky. That's with stock plates, stock pressure plate, stock springs, all that, which was definitely the case with this one. I think I put about 6-7 hours on the bike maybe, and already had to replace the clutch. It was absolutely fried. So I know every year we kind of get some promises that the clutch is going to be upgraded. This year I just decided to try out the stock one to see if that was true. It's not really, like I said, it's already toast. So I could actually feel it the second day that I took it out. I could feel it just like every time I would land a jump hard on the throttle, I could feel it slipping a little bit. And I was like, no way, man, second day on the bike, this thing's already fried. So then I put some stiffer Hinson clutch springs in around like maybe 3 hours or so like that, and immediately got rid of it, but I think at that point it was already like 50% through its life, so it still took only another 4 hours to smoke it the rest of the way. So just put a fresh clutch in, have the stiffer Hinson springs. I'll let you guys know how long that one lasts for. I'm hoping to get about maybe 12-15 hours out of it. That seems to be what I was getting out of my old bikes when I would put the stiffer springs in. If you go full Hinson clutch, I know that is even better, maybe gets you like 20, maybe even 25. So yeah, because of that, definitely I would recommend immediately when you get the bike, Hinson clutch springs. You know, unless you enjoy changing clutches and going through them every 5 hours. I mean, maybe you'll get a little bit longer out of yours just because I am a little bit harder on my bikes, but I'm definitely not like, I'm not Bam Bam Barsha just ripping on the rev limiter and clutching everywhere. So I don't think I'm too hard on it, and it only lasted me 5 hours. So I would recommend getting the clutch springs immediately. Oh, the clutch is also really hard to pull. I mean, I know with all these other bikes going hydro clutch especially, this thing just seems like it's really lacking in that area. My Hondas have always had a really hard clutch pull, and then you put the stiffer clutch springs on top of that, it makes it even worse. So, you know, you get used to it and it doesn't bother you so much, but you'll definitely build up some blisters at first and maybe some finger cramps. Moving on to some of the more minor stuff, like the seat cover. Obviously this bike came with a gripper seat on it, but I know the stock Honda seat cover is really slippery. That's something I would consider upgrading like as soon as you get the bike. I actually found that it really reduced my arm pump because I didn't have to hold on so much to keep my butt in the same position on the seat. So if you guys are suffering from arm pump, that's definitely an easy thing to look into. Moving on to the stock mufflers. I know, again, with this bike, it didn't come with the stock mufflers on it, but I know that the stock mufflers are super raspy, super loud, pretty annoying. So obviously that's a pretty preference thing. If you don't care about how it sounds, then you can just leave it. But putting a dual yoke on there definitely makes it sound much better, and you get a little performance boost too, so I can't argue with that. Moving on to one of the more weird things that happened. Actually, the first day out on the bike, I just tipped it over and completely busted up the start button. The rubber housing on it ripped, and the little metal piece fell out that connected the two, metal prongs in there to actually start the bike. I was at the back of a sand track, wouldn't start, had to push the bike all the way back. So that really sucked, and obviously no one has an extra one of those just laying around in their trailer. So, if that happens first session out, you could be pretty screwed on the day. So I definitely would recommend keeping one on hand in your trailer or whatever when you go to the track, just in case. These things seem to be pretty delicate. I've been hearing some other problems about them like shorting out. So yeah, I would definitely just keep another one in there. They're super easy to replace, but it's just a matter of having an extra one. And moving on to another pretty big one is just the suspension imbalance that I've been telling you guys all about. If you've been watching my videos, I've kind of been struggling with the suspension balance issues, being the front end really soft compared to the rear. This is something that every single one of my Hondas since probably 2010 has suffered from. I know people like to say that it's got like a stink bug characteristic, which I guess is a good way to put it. The front end just sits low, makes it really twitchy. It's soft, dives, it knifes pretty bad. So I've really been battling with that. It's been getting better over the years, but still, it's definitely a prominent issue. Been working really hard on some clicker settings that I'll tell you guys in a minute to try and kind of reduce that, and just some other things I've been trying out. But ultimately, I think just revalving it for your weight, getting that front end stiffer is going to be what you're going to want to do. But yeah, that's pretty much it on the good stuff and the bad stuff. Really been liking the bike so far. Once I get that front end issue sorted out, I think it's going to be a super solid race bike for this upcoming season. I think you guys will really like them if you go ahead and pick one up. So definitely highly recommend it. I think it's one of the best 450s in the class. If you can get your hands on one, definitely highly recommend it. So these are the settings I've kind of come to for now. I'll just put them up on the screen for you guys to take a look at. You can try them out, let me know what you think. All the tracks down here are pretty sandy, so it's going to be set up for, you know, a soft low mirror sand track. Haven't really gotten to ride it on a hard pack track yet, so can't speak on that, but I think the settings should be pretty good. I just spoke with a buddy of mine, Mitch Gerwin from Turbo Speed Tuning. He's a suspension guy up in Michigan where I'm from, and he's helping me sort out that front end issue. So he actually just told me I should drop the forks all the way, put them flush, and then take the high-speed rebound on the or high-speed compression out a half a turn on the rear. So just did that, haven't ridden it yet, but I'll let you guys know how that feels next time I go for a ride. Thanks for watching, guys. If you've picked up one of these bikes and you try out these settings, definitely know what you think. If there's some other things that you've done to yours that you really like, let me know. I'm interested to hear what you guys are doing to them. So thanks for watching.